match against Fernando Verdasco, who himself took out Kyle Edmund. So both of them seeing that, trying to seize that opportunity to get into the fourth round. But let's just go for the little guy. He's about, I think Thomas Fabiano is about this tall.
Right.
Seriously. Against Fernando Verdasco, who's got the big biceps and the lefty forehand and that Spanish sort of bravado that he walks around the court with. But Fabiano, yeah, it's been a great story for sure.
Okay, very briefly, we're just going to touch on any other business, of course. On Twitter, so for some eagle-eyed fans, they might have thought Bjorn Borg had turned back time, but of course it was his son that was on court yesterday, Leo Borg, which just makes me feel really old.
Yeah, they are a spitting image as well.
Yes.
Yeah, they certainly are. And Leo Borg, who's been training around Europe, he got a wild card into the junior event, which I believe starts soon, maybe tomorrow, maybe Monday. But really cool that, of course, Leo Borg is here. And he's quite the tennis talent. He hasn't played that many events, but from what I've heard, he's a very talented young player, and his name just happens to be Borg.
Do you know what I'm looking forward to? Did he lose?
He did lose, unfortunately.
Hopefully we'll get to see. Well,
he lost already.
Yeah.
No, did the junior start?
It's qualifying.
Oh, qualifying. Thank you. Hannah's correcting me. Junior qualifying. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, good try, Leo. We'll see you next year.
Next year we'll have a Borg back on court.
Oh, dear.
Oh, too good.
That's funny.
So,
sorry, I've suddenly my ear's gone a little bit quiet there.
That's all right.
You do this next bit
No,
for me.
it's very busy. Don't worry. Listen, Nick, thank you so much for your expertise.
I'm just going to go off and eat cake.
Go and eat a cake.
I'm going to take this
stuff his
whole
face.
thing. I'm
But
not sharing.
Yes, but thank you
Thanks,
so
Nick.
much.
Thank you for coming to join us. We'll see you tomorrow.
Of course.
Indeed.
Now,
absolutely.
Our friends over in Australia with very long memories may recall that it's 50 years to the day since Rod Laver won his last Wimbledon title, and in a quiet moment, he took a tour of the grounds.
Hi, Stanley. How are you?
Match, so
Wait a second.
Get ready.
God. Yeah.
I normally don't like to have photos with guys that beat me so badly, but you know, this is an exception.
But yours it wasn't badly.
It was. It's pretty close.
Yeah. Hi there.
Good to see you.
Good to see you again.
See you too.
Beautiful day.
Hello.
Hi there. Hi. How are you? This isn't quite the same as when we were here.
Yes, I can imagine.
But they've always made the garden so pretty. The walkways and everything. Look at the roof. This is amazing. Actually, it's pretty nice to be able to see it on a day when it's not busy. See the world with a tennis racket. That's what it was like back in our era. Let's think this thing.
How's it look?
Yeah, this is nice. Yeah, Henman Hill. And you get your Pims over there, of course.
Great.
I hadn't seen it. I mean, that's an enormous screen. Are you ready?
Yes.
You ready for this?
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Yeah.
Very well.
Wait, there's Susan.
Hi, how are
That's
you?
Susan.
Great to
This
see
is
you.
Susan.
Nice to meet you. Right.
Go
Nice,
back?
nice
Yeah.
to see you.
Yeah, you
Looking
too.
Great. Sharp.
Yeah, no, I feel good.
Are you getting a racket in your hand maybe this few weeks?
No, where is my racket?
It's somewhere.
No. Oh, there he's got it.
Oh. Oh, that's nice. Oh, wow.
That's it.
That's a beauty. That's a beauty.
I know.
Yeah. I would wanna. I tried playing with
Well,
I tried
did you-
the modern style tennis with
Okay.
with the wooden racket. It doesn't work.
What are you guys doing here?
Rod is checking up on me. I'm getting a bit sick of him following me around, checking up on me, making sure I'm looking after the young guys.
Excuse me, who are you?
Exactly. Don't you know who I used to be?
You coaching with this guy?
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Roger.
Hey Rocket, what's happening?
How are you?
Good to see you.
How are you? Yeah, I'm
Already
good.
here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Are you here for the 2 weeks?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. There, look at you.
Yeah, mate.
How are you?
You going all right?
Yeah.
Good to see you. Huh?
Yeah.
When did you get in?
Yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
It's not too far, though.
No, it's not too.
Not as bad as Australia.
Not too difficult.
No.
Yeah, it was actually because we came in a private plane.
Oh, nice. Easy.
Yeah.
Eh?
Oh
That's the
shit!
life.
You just.
Eh? That's the
Yeah,
life.
you got to get to know people.
Rod Laver, what an absolute legend. It was awesome to have him back at SW19. Looked like he really enjoyed it. And that was on one of the days just before the tournament started. So pretty much everybody was down practicing, and I think every single Australian player in particular who was out practicing made sure they found him, had a picture with him, and yeah, he looked like he really enjoyed it.
Absolutely, and also what is amazing about Rod Laver, he's the only man to achieve the calendar Grand Slam. Novak Djokovic came very, very close.
Only man to ever do it.
Only man to ever do it. Amazing stuff, amazing stuff. Speaking of amazing things, I had the opportunity to meet one of the most important umpires in tennis. Her name is Maria Cicak, and what is even brilliant about her, she's a fantastic talker, but she has her own legion of fans known as Chicacholics, and this is what she had to say.
Please welcome today's chair umpire, Maria Cicak.
Yes, I've done a few Grand Slam finals, but I mean, I'll still wake up in the morning and do the same job just because I love it. That's what I do, and yeah, I enjoy it.
Hello Maria, thanks for talking to us, because we know you're an extremely busy person. You're one of the most important umpires of the championship. How did you start your journey?
Well, my journey at the championship started on Monday, but my journey as an official started a long, long time ago. I pretty much started as a line umpire or a chair umpire on a lower level, nationals, and then, yeah, with time probably, I don't know, you just kind of keep on going and you keep on going up.
Now, you umpired the second longest tennis match in history, which I was watching actually last year, and I was watching, I was thinking, I did have it on. I was doing other stuff in the background, to be fair, but I had it on. I was looking at you thinking, are you going to get to go for a break? Which clearly you couldn't, because it was a 6-hour match. Can I ask you firstly, what was that like to umpire, and how hard was it to umpire as well?
Well, I mean, yes, it's a little bit a longer match, but for us every match is possible to go long, so you don't really know what you're going to get. And yeah, I mean, I always have the same routine, the same preparation routine for every match. So to me, there was no difference from the beginning of the match. Yes, it's tough to keep on being focused through all those hours, but I mean, once you learn how to refocus, then it gets a little bit easier.
How good does your eyesight have to be though when it comes to those very, very close line calls?
Well, the better it is, the better for an umpire is, I would say. But look, we all strive for perfection, I would say, and we all want to be as precise as possible. I don't know. I mean, if you want to check my eyesight, go and check with the Hawkeye. They'll tell you pretty precise, I would say.
Okay, so a quick masterclass while we're here in this glorious sunshine in SW19 for sure. If I was a line judge, what would I be looking for on the court?
Well, on the court, you have a few lines. Let's say you have 3 positions on long lines, and then you have 3 positions on the cross lines as well. So let's take this long line as an example. When line is approaching, when the ball, is approaching the line, then you look pretty much where it's gonna fall. If you see it out, you call it out. If you see it in, you just show a safe signal. Simple, no?
I love all the hand signals as well. I find that fascinating. I guess you have to love tennis as well to be able to get to that level like yourself.
Yeah, I would say that there is no way you can do this unless you love tennis as a game, as a sport, as a life.
I can't believe an umpire has her own legion of fans
and
a Twitter account dedicated to her in her fashion. Adam Hunt from Wimbledon Channel has joined us.
I love the umpire chatter, because there's
amazing.
Another umpire. The Cicak one is interesting as well. A lot of male admirers, I think. For
Right.
her. Also, the other one to look out for a slightly different reason, is Caden Nooney.
Yeah,
He's the
Caden
Barry
Nooney.
White of tennis.
Yeah.
He's got
The
a really
voice.
deep voice. I think it was maybe last year or the year before. He was a big thing on social media.
Love
I don't think he's got his own.
15.
Yes.
Yeah,
You can hear him before you see him. It's great. And he's got a lovely voice.
It's one of the best things about tennis, just the weird and wonderful social media accounts that get set up, right?
The thing about him as well is, if I was playing, I'd be more concerned about what he was saying rather than my match. He's a lovely guy as well.
Oh, I'm sure. I was talking to social media. Loads of people getting in touch about that Rod Laver piece.
What a legend.
Lorraine on Facebook saying she's a proud Queenslander for seeing her beloved Rod Laver Honestly, he seemed absolutely lovely. We didn't get to bump into him, but I mean, it was literally everybody who was anyone was stopping and taking photos and making sure.
I was lucky to meet him a couple of years ago in Rolex Suite. He was here with Jack Nicklaus, so that was a
wow.
A few major titles between those two. I think those trophy cabinets have not got much space left in them. So yeah, it was an opportunity with Jack Nicklaus and Rod Laver, two of the greatest champions in both golf and tennis. So it was good to meet them.
Oh, fantastic stuff. Right, so shall we chat about a bit of social media, see what's going on?
Busy day yesterday on
It
social,
was a very busy day yesterday.
We talked about some royal visitors. I'm not quite sure they're quite royal, but probably the next best thing in British celebrity culture. But we had a Beckham down. We had Romeo Beckham was touring the grounds.
We did. We saw him on centre court as well. He was watching on, particularly enjoying that Kyrgios Nadal match. And I think that the Beckham, I think it's Cruz that is that they all play tennis. They're big tennis fans. There's been a few years in a row we've seen David and the family at Queen's. I think they're members at the Queen's Club, so they play there. And Cruz, I think, is one to watch for the future. I think he's better at tennis than he is at football, which perhaps doesn't quite follow, but he's a keen tennis player. So you often see them here at Wimbledon.
Imagine that, we have like a Beckham child and one of the royal babies. Imagine that, that would be fun, wouldn't
it? And then Leo Borg as well.
And Leo Borg.
Oh my goodness.
He'll be an old man by that point. Yeah, Romeo Beckham, absolutely loving stuff. We'll stick with football.
Yes.
Because the special one, we mentioned him already. Jose Mourinho is down here. We saw him with Rafael Nadal and Fabio Fognini as well.
And Nick McCarville.
And Nick McCarville, yes.
On the Wimbledon channel. Always good to see Jose. He loves his tennis. He's often, watching tournaments throughout the year. He's a big fan of Federer and Nadal. It was interesting in that interview that he did with Nick, actually, speaking about the crossover between tennis and football and the mentality. Some of the things that he says to his players in dressing rooms comes from individual sports like tennis and golf. Really being focused on your craft, even though you're part of an 11-man team, focusing on what you've got to do on the pitch on any given game. So it was good to see him.
And he's a huge. I was going to say Jose's a huge Andy Murray fan as well. He's always been really supportive of Andy Murray.
Listen, he's out of work at the moment. No managerial job. If anyone's looking for a coach, they
Nick
could probably do
Kyrgios.
a lot worse, couldn't they?
A bit left field, but
why not?
It would work.
We've seen like Clive Woodward in football. Why not?
Maybe that's what Nick Kyrgios needs.
Yes.
He needs the special one.
Never mind Marvel's Avengers. That would be the most ambitious crossover event in history, wouldn't it?
Brilliant.
Now listen, the Wimbledon Join the Story page has been aflame this week with awesome stuff. And Albert Dean shared this picture of his all year round Wimbledon display in his little hobby shed. It's awesome. I wish I was there now.
Man cave.
Oh yes.
Love a man cave.
I love the old wooden rackets as well.
Yes. He's got some good memorabilia in there. The Wimbledon rackets. That little mug that's
got
hung
pennant
on the
as
wall
well, Bjorn Borg, sweatband as well. Hopefully that's been washed.
Hopefully. That's the thing as well. The Wimbledon shop, well worth a visit. Picking up these kind of things that in many years will be souvenirs that you can remember your special day at Wimbledon.
Yeah, Albert, thank you so much for sharing that. You mentioned the shop. The museum down here is also well worth a visit. I mean, that's just over by the gates. It's open throughout while the tennis is on?
Yeah, not too far from where we're standing, actually, on the other side of court 17, sort of between the walkways between centre and court number 1. We do a feature on it every year, sometimes 2 or 3 features on it every year, because there's just so much tennis history. The thing I like seeing is they'll have some players' shoes and rackets and clothing. I think they've got Ivo Karlovic's shoe in there, which is about
enormous.
2 of mine. So it's always one of those things, you go in there not really expecting what to find, and then you're always fascinated by what you can see.
Yeah, I mean, they're on Twitter as well. They're worth a follow. On this day, by the way, 1974, Chris Evert won the first of her 3 ladies singles titles. They tweeted about it. And how about this? This is one of the exhibits in the museum. Lovely little pin badge printed. Chris is #1. Yeah, lovely stuff. Loads of things like that.
And Chris still involved. You see her.
Oh, yeah,
she
very
works
much.
for
downstairs
ESPN.
earlier.
Yes,
So you see her. A special day for her, and I'm sure she'll be remembering one of the best days in her career.
Yeah, honestly, don't walk around with your nose in your phone checking your messages. You don't know who you'll end up bumping into.
Now, can I say about this one? Because I'm
do.
particularly excited because she's one of my favourite comedians on the planet.
Yes.
Miranda Hart. And she's a huge tennis fan, of course, always tweeting about the matches. If you don't follow Miranda Hart during the tennis season, please do. She comes up with some absolute crackers. But she was talking about Serena, Murray and Kyrgios.
I think she said she needed 3 heads
she did,
to pay attention to it all, which was, I think, how a lot of us were feeling later on yesterday for various different reasons.
Yes.
But it was one of those matches that captured the attention of the nation. I think Boris Becker said, on BBC, he was saying that it was one of the most enthralling matches he'd ever commentated on, and we're talking about a second round match, not a final or a semi-final, and I think that's what it was like. It was so intriguing.
I just love the fact Miranda says she'd like to sit down with Kyrgios and have a cup of tea. How British.
Or a pint of beer, depending on his recent activities. I think he'd rather have a beer with you.
I love how he spotted one of the journalists in his press conference as well. Was actually
that was great.
That
there were some good lines there.
It was very entertaining. And I'd love to see Miranda Hart do a bit of commentary as well.
Oh,
we should maybe have a word with the powers that be. That would be very amusing.
Brilliant.
Loads of good stuff on Instagram as well. This one came in from James out on the hill with a lovely glass of Prosecco. That's the way to enjoy the sun, is it not?
Yes, cool down when it's warm. I think it's going to be even hotter today than it was yesterday. Yesterday was a bit of a scorcher. In fact, the weather forecast for the tournament has improved steadily. They were saying there might be a little bit of rain next week. Now that's gone away from the forecast. Production team just out of shot here holding an umbrella to keep themselves cool.
You've
seen a lot of umbrellas around, but not for the rain. It's just to keep you cool. So drink plenty of water. Some Pimm's, some champagne is allowed. I'm making the rules up on this one.
Sunscreen.
Yes, sunscreen and water. Drink plenty of it, and you'll enjoy your day here at Wimbledon.
Indeed. And this, well, we love animals on the show, don't we? And we mentioned the sniffer dogs that are around. But how about this? D.Dog88. That's worth a follow.
Beauty.
Absolutely. This is what is it, a cockapoo, I think? I'm not sure.
I'm thinking
I'm
Labrador.
bad with
Labrador.
dog breeds. It is
Cockapoo?
a cockapoo. Wanting to be a ball boy with a lovely hat on and managed to find a tennis ball, which our sniffer dog yesterday couldn't find.
Yes.
We had Jo Conter on the Wimbledon channel, and her dog Bono has got its own social media account.
Of course.
So you can go and follow her on Instagram. We asked her actually, does she ever come into the grounds? Unfortunately, not allowed, but she does watch all of her matches. So.
Fantastic stuff. And look, let's round it off with another one from the Facebook group. Claire Budden sharing a lovely photograph. My heart is full of love. I'm back home.
Oh, fantastic.
That's how it feels for a lot of people who've maybe not been for a little while. It never changes. You come back and you feel like he's putting on lovely old pair of slippers.
Yes, exactly.
Great place to be.
The All England Club always strike that perfect balance between keeping all of the history and the things that people want to see year after year after year, but then also adding a few new elements each year that make you sit up and pay attention.
Adam, thanks for popping by to see us.
Indeed, you're off to go and host on the Wimbledon channel. We
Have
can
a
watch
good day.
it on YouTube, wimbledon.com, and on the app. Anything exciting? What are we looking forward to today?
Well, some good matches. I think Court 1 is the day in terms of the men's matches. Novak Djokovic and Felix Auger-Aliassime, really exciting youngster, just 19 years of age. They're on Court 1. And then Halep Azarenka on centre. I'm really looking forward to seeing that one. Not actually played too many times for saying how long both of them have been out on tour. So it'll be interesting to see who gets the better of the match there.
All right, have a good day. Thanks for joining us. And we will see you tomorrow, of course. And we will see you guys tomorrow as well.
Absolutely. We're off to demolish this cake before any of the camera people
start
up
right
here. Adam's straight in there. It is real.
It wasn't just the bit in the nick. It is real.
Listen, you can follow all of the action on the Wimbledon channel, on YouTube, on .com, and on the app. It all kicks off at 11 o'clock. We're off to have a bit of cake, and we'll see you at exactly the same time tomorrow.
See you later.
There he is. Just 2 days before Wimbledon. This is so crazy. Should I just interrupt him? I mean, there's so many rules here. I'm not sure. Okay, here we go. Roger!
Hey! How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing great. Thanks for making the time to slip in a quick 73-question interview.
Not gonna miss it.
This is gonna be great. So how you feeling about the tournament?
Feeling great. So happy that it's Wimbledon time again. I love this place.
Good. Can you walk me through how you start your days right now?
It's pretty relaxed, actually. It's all about recovery and coming into the tournament, with loads of energy. That's my plan.
Okay, can you show me what makes a perfect serve?
Okay, perfect serve is, I think it's all in the toss, really. It's the only shot we actually do control. Everything else, we have to react to the opponent. So here we go. Up, jump, hope it lands in.
You make it look pretty easy. All right, can you demonstrate an extremely difficult and technical thing I probably won't understand?
Maybe overhead on the backhand side. It hardly ever happens, and when it does, you lunge back, jump up, can't see the opponent anymore. You try to connect, and you hope for the best.
Okay, what do you consider to be your signature shot?
My slice, maybe my forehand.
And why don't you have a two-handed backhand?
Because all my heroes had one-hander, so I had no choice.
Do you get attached to your racket?
I do. I love my racket, and it's the extension of my arm, and it does all the magic for me, so yeah.
All right, now what's your favorite part about playing at Wimbledon?
It's history and tradition.
And how would you describe playing at center court?
It's, I think, a dream come true for every tennis player to play there.
Can we check it out?
Let's go.
All right, great. And whoa, I am destroying you at tennis or on that scoreboard right there.
What is going on? What have you done? And why are you asking questions and not playing at Wimbledon?
Does your family have any nicknames for you?
Yeah, they call me Rog, and in Swiss German, Rotschi.
Okay, what's the most Swiss thing about you?
That I'm a chocoholic, if that's something.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
What languages do you speak?
I speak Swiss German, German, English, and French.
Do you have any favorite expressions in these languages?
I like allez in French, come on in English, and komm jetzt in Swiss German on the tennis court.
We got some ball boys and ball girls.
Hey! How's everything? All good? Nice to see you all.
Hey, guys.
And they're having strawberries and cream.
Do you want one?
Sure.
Roger, what's up with the strawberries and cream here?
I don't know, it's a Wimbledon thing.
Okay.
What is it? Do you know?
Tradition.
Tradition.
Now, I heard you started your career as a ball boy, is that right?
Yes, I was like them. I was about 12 years old. I had my home tournament in Basel. I did it for 2 years. It was great. I loved it.
How many hours a day at age 12 were you playing?
Loved that match on centre court between Kyrgios and Nadal. But before we chat about that, let's show you the order of play for today. First up on centre court, it's Kevin Anderson against the Argentine Guido Pella. And then Simona Halep against Victoria Azarenka. That's a cracker of a match. And last up, the teenager Corey, or Coco as she likes to be called, Coco Gauff against Polona Hertzog. And Shea Su Wei will take on Karolina Pliskova on court one, and then it's Novak Djokovic against Hubert Urkacz, and then teenager Felix Auger-Aliassime against Ugo Humbert. But the box office match that we all couldn't take our eyes off last night was Nick Kyrgios against Rafa Nadal. So much needle in this match, a bit of a grudge match, and that's something that's been missing in tennis.
I think so. I think it lived up to the expectations tennis-wise. It lived up to the expectations in terms of being an emotional match. Nick Kyrgios really brought it, I thought. I mean, I wasn't sure how he was going to handle everything that's gone on in the media before the match. We knew Nadal was going to come out and be very professional. I kind of love the underhand serve, I have to say. I mean, Nadal stands so far back. A lot of people are talking, is that really tennis? Is that disrespectful?
The thing is, we need to sell our sport, tennis, and the big three at some point are going to retire, and people like Nick Kyrgios, you can say what you like, but people want to watch him. It's riveting.
Yes, it is. I mean, I think you have to compare him to the first sort of real showman was probably Ilie Nastase. He became very popular, and he was maybe disliked at times by some people. Of course, Jimmy Connors was another showman, but John McEnroe comes to mind more than anything. And if we see what's happened to John McEnroe after his career on court, well, he's one of the most dedicated, passionate tennis players and analysts that I've ever met or seen. So I think that we need the likes of Nick Kyrgios. Now, what we need to stop doing is what could happen to Nick Kyrgios if he is as professional about his tennis as, let's say, Rafael Nadal. Well, no one is perfect.
And I think that rivalry and the fact that these two blatantly do not like each other was why so many people who perhaps aren't traditionally tennis fans were tuning in. It reminded me of McEnroe-Connors. And, you know, Nadal's always talking about respect, and of course that's, we need that in tennis. But and respecting your opponent, respecting Roger, but it was great to see the needle between these two.
It was, but I really, I mean, we are trying to sell our sport, but I think maybe it's less of them not liking each other personally, but I think it's maybe Nadal has a slight problem with how Nick Kyrgios goes about his professional tennis business. And Nick Kyrgios maybe might think sometimes that Nadal is too serious or takes losses too seriously. So I think it's not personal. And with Nick Kyrgios, I always feel like it isn't personal. It's just the way that he goes about it.
If it's not personal, look at that.
But again, he's so far behind the baseline, Nick Kyrgios, and Ivan Lendl used to try and do that too, and I'm good friends with Ivan Lendl. Most players are these days. So again, you're trying to win a tennis match and you're trying to do anything you can, and therefore the underhand serve, therefore trying to hit Nadal a couple of times in the chest. But hey, he won the points.
I think he was waiting, Nadal was waiting for him to say sorry, and he was just sort of spinning his racket. But afterwards in the press conference, Nick Kyrgios, it's almost like a self-defense mechanism, isn't it? It's like, I don't care, I enjoy entertaining the fans. And yet Nadal said if he put his mind to it, of course, we all know he can win a Grand Slam. And it's up to Nick whether he really wants it, or maybe he's just satisfied with this level and being in the dog and fox till 11 o'clock the night before a match.
Well, it's a lot easier to go into the gym and work out physically than it is to switch on mentally and to actually want it, to need to win tennis matches. I'm sure that Nick Kyrgios wants to win Wimbledon as much as any other player. The question is, how much does he need to win it? As in, can he actually go on and travel around the world feeling like he doesn't need to win? Nadal needs to win tennis matches. That's what I think makes him feel fulfilled. That's what impresses himself with his own efforts, is to, I need to win this, I need to practice to be able to win this. And one day it's over. I needed to win tennis matches, and suddenly one day I woke up and just like a lot of players, you know what, I don't need this anymore. What do I need now? I need my wife, I need to start a family, I need to improve my golf handicap. There are other things, and I think Nadal is still needing to win tennis matches. Novak most of the time is. I think Roger Federer feels like he needs to be out entertaining the crowd, but also he needs that competitive juices to start flowing. Nick Kyrgios needs to entertain the crowd. And has he ever failed? No, never.
Fascinating stuff. Thank you, Mats. Well, listen, let's just take a listen to what the players had to say after that encounter.
I'm a great tennis player, but I don't do the other stuff. You know, I'm not the most professional guy. I won't train day in, day out. I won't show up every day. So there's a lot of things I need to improve on to get to that level that, you know, Rafa brings, Novak brings, Roger have been doing for so long. So it just depends how bad I want it. But no, at the moment, I don't think I can contend for a Grand Slam. He played well in those moments, and that's why, you know, he's one of the greatest there is.
Nick, two underarm serves today. What they got seem to get quite different reactions from the crowd. They kind of loved the first one, and there's some boos the second one, and they both worked. Why did you sort of put it back in the locker after that?
I don't know, man. If I do something outrageous, I get destroyed in the media for it. So I just thought I'd be professional, hit a normal serve. That's what I was thinking.
Seriously, you worried?
No, I'm kidding. I just didn't want to hit another one. Oh, shoot me down for not hitting an underarm serve, centre court Wimbledon against Rafa. What do you want from me, man? Like, I do it. I don't know. I don't know what you want from me.
Do you regret not apologising for hitting him with the ball in the third set?
Why would I apologise?
Well, because that's the convention, isn't it?
Of what?
Of tennis.
Is it?
If you hit someone with the ball.
I didn't hit him. His racket, no. But why would I apologise? I won the point.
He didn't look too pleased.
And? What?
But you seemed to wind him up, and then he would then win.
I don't care. Well, why would I apologise? I mean, dude's got how many slams? How much money in the bank account? I think he can take a ball to the chest, bro. I'm not going to apologise to him at all.
Did you aim it straight at him?
Yeah, I actually was going I was going for him. Yeah, I wanted to hit him square in the chest. Lucky he's got decent hands.
The history of this sport is about respect, and it's about playing fair during the whole time, you know. And I don't say Nick does this stuff to bother the opponent, but it's true that sometimes, you know, it's dangerous. When he hit the ball like this, it's dangerous. It's not dangerous for me. It's dangerous for a line referee. It's dangerous for a crowd, because when you hit the ball like this, you don't know where the ball goes. I know he's a big talented player, but I am a professional player too. And I know when you hit this kind of ball, the ball can go anywhere. And this time the ball went in, almost hit me, no problem. I am a professional, so I know how to avoid this. But another one, the ball goes straight to the back. So have been a dangerous moment for the line umpire. If that ball hits an eye or something like this, is a problem. And and that's it. It's not about I am angry about him at all. It's about I want to play a match of tennis, and sometimes it's difficult. Personally, what I feel is when you try your best, when you do the right things, and you come back home knowing that you did as much as you could, you are in peace with yourself.
Wow, what a presser. Well, listen, let's take a look at Kyrgios hitting him again. We'll give Mats a second look at it and see what you think. I mean, Nadal was very clear in that press conference that he thought this was out of order. But Nick's point, I suppose, would be, will it hit your racket?
I think I will then take Nick's point a little bit, that it did hit Nadal's racket. Maybe it's hard for Nick to see that, but I guess it's the way, I think it goes back to the underhand serve. I think people have said, oh, it's disrespectful to the game, but it is within the rules. And I think hitting somebody at the net is within the rules. Sometimes if you hit the ball to the side of the player and they stick the racket out there, they're actually able to hit a good volley. I mean, we hit body serves all the time, which is one of the most effective serves. And we're not trying to hit the opponent, but you're trying to jam him up. And nearly every time somebody's at the net, you're trying to volley at their shoelaces. This just happens to be a little further up because Nick Kyrgios is so far back and he's trying to hit the ball over the net. Well, that happens to be in a certain area of where Nadal is trying to protect himself. So, no, I don't think it. I think if you're decent friends, then maybe you say, listen, I'm sorry, mate. But in this situation, he was so fiery beforehand, during, and all of us then should be blamed, because did we want Nick Kyrgios to apologize? Not really.
We were enjoying it.
Yeah, we're enjoying it. So I think that Rafa takes it so professionally, and at the end he says, as long as you're at peace with yourself and your own effort, then life goes on. And apparently Nick Kyrgios, I think, is entertaining us.
And he was really getting under Rafa's skin. I mean, it was working, those tactics. Disrupting Nadal's rhythm, chatting to the umpire, complaining, and then he stopped doing it. Kyrgios actually started to focus. But actually, that tactic was working. It could have brought him the match if he carried on doing it.
Yes, it could have. It definitely affected Nadal. You could see that. Now, did it affect him negatively, or did it fire Nadal up? We'll never really know if that made the match closer or not. But both players handled the occasion brilliantly, and I would even have to say that both players handled the occasion professionally, especially Nick Kyrgios, because I think the pressure was on him more than Nadal to come here, show up, and not only show us what you can do when the ball is not in play, but also show us that you're a great tennis player. And like Nadal said, but to me, the handshake says it all. There's some respect in there, but they're most probably not going to go out and have dinner together
I don't think we'll be seeing them at the Dog and Fox.
That's the way it is. I think tennis needs a bit of rivalry, not only tactically and technically, but also emotionally. So I love this match.
I agree, and I've never seen Rafa celebrate like that after a second round match at a Grand Slam. But the big news yesterday was the defending champion Angelique Kerber knocked out by Lauren Davis, who was in qualifying last week. She didn't get through qualifying and is here as a lucky loser. How much of a surprise was this, Max?
Oh, it's a big surprise, of course. Lauren Davis is a great ball striker. She has good attitude. She fights harder than most players out there. Would you call her a journey woman on the tour? A little bit of that. She played an amazing match against Simona Halep at the Australian Open a couple of years ago. She lost in, I believe it's 11-9 in the third, but she's, you know, she's dangerous, and Angie Kerber doesn't really have that big weapon, and to me it looks like Angie Kerber maybe lost that need to win tennis matches at the moment.
And the women's draw is, I mean, we always say every Grand Slam is so open. I think of the last 10 Grand Slams, 9 different women have won. Ash Barty, I was speaking to Sam Smith, the BBC commentator. She said she couldn't believe how well she played yesterday. Just extraordinary. I think that's 15 matches now on the bounce she's won. It's really opening up for her now, isn't it?
It is, yes. And I feel that the reason why she seems so calm, I think, is because she has all the variety in her game. And she has all these options going on a tennis court. She can serve and volley, she can hit a slice backhand. She doesn't panic now, whereas when you watched Naomi Osaka, who obviously was our second seed and went out in the first round, I felt like you could see a little bit of sort of anxiety and panic in the eyes. Usually that's because you don't have a game plan B and C, and Ash Barty has all these options and she can mix it up. So, yeah.
And who else there looks dangerous? Petra Kvitova came through yesterday, even though she's sort of damaged a tendon in her serving arm. It doesn't seem to be bothering her. She said she wouldn't be playing another tournament, but the fact that it's Wimbledon, she's obviously one to watch out. We've got Halep Azarenka today, which is a cracker of a match, second on centre. But where else do you see the threat coming from in the women's draw?
Well, I mean, not yet, but I think Serena Williams at some point here in the next round or two is really going to present herself as a threat. I think she improves with every round. Somebody that we don't talk too much about is Belinda Bencic, young Swiss player who was very promising when she was really young and then had struck with a lot of injuries, but she's really come back, and she's a big match player. She's got it up here. Sloane Stephens comes to mind, especially as these grass courts so far are playing pretty slow. Sloane Stephens, of course, won the US Open a couple of years ago, finals of the French Open last year, lost to Simona Halep, and she can play on any surface when she puts her mind to it.
Have had a pretty easy run to that
this year.
I would say Pair would be better. But Vesely, coming through qualifying, he's already played 3 matches, plus he's played 2 matches here, so he's on a 5-match win streak, plus he's played 5 matches. So I'd say Pair, because Vesely probably getting a little bit tired. Usually if you play 5 matches in a Grand Slam, you're in the semi-finals, so he's playing his 6th match in a week. So I'd say, and it's best of 5 sets, I'd probably say Pair would be a safer bet. John, women are not after looks. Adrian says, I think the match between Isner and Opelka in the AO ended without one tiebreak, which no one predicted. No, it was all tiebreaks. That match was all tiebreaks. It was 4 tiebreaks. But Opelka won. That's probably what the unpredictable thing was. Kerber lost yesterday. Yes, she did. Also, advantage for Raonic, but big serve from Opelka. And we're back at juice. Hey Cam, what do you think about Nishikori's chances to the semis, says Tennis in Hindi? I think he's got a good chance. Nobody's talking about him. He's sneaking through the draw. What part of the draw is he? He's in Federer's quarter of the draw. So he's going to play Federer in the quarterfinals potentially. So, yeah, I think the semifinals is tough, but I think he can get to the quarterfinals. He's got a pretty, he's pretty decent. And it depends on if Federer loses, then Nishikori might make a semi. But no one's talking about Nishikori. He's sneaking through the draw, winning in straight sets. So watch out for Nishikori. This match actually has some good rallies so far. Yeah, John, it definitely does. I mean, Opelka showed against Wawrinka that he could play on the ground strokes. And I've been pumping up Opelka before yesterday, or before the other day. And I've been saying that he's John Isner with ground, but he knows how to hit a forehand and a backhand. So I'm pretty sure we're just waiting. We're sitting here waiting for the tiebreak. And then when that happens, we'll talk about the tennis. Pretty much not many players are winning points on serve, off serve on return. Like I said, Opelka's the only one who's actually had break points in the set. He had 3 of them in a row and he couldn't do it, but we'll see what happens. Have you talked about Kyrgios' post-press conference? No, we haven't. It's pretty funny, though. Pretty funny. Goffin in 4 sets against Medvedev. Yeah, I'm probably on that sort of page as well. Tennis in Hindi. I think that's probably about right. Cilic won Grand Slam champion, US Open finalist in 2018, Australian Open 2017, Wimbledon. He's won Cincinnati and 2 Grand Slam semi-finals. So yeah, he's got a good career, Cilic, but he just is right now playing terrible. This year he's played terrible. Nadal has no babies, says Gil. Cilic has won 18 titles. Isner has dropped to number 14 now, and Cilic is number 16. Okay. It'll depend on other people in the draw as well. Obviously, if players around them, like if Raonic gets to the semi-finals, he will leapfrog over some of those players, I'd assume. So, yeah. Coric is 13. He pulled out this week, so he didn't play. Didn't play this tournament, obviously. Won't be using protection once he retires. Rafa won't be. All right, love 15 now for Raonic. First little chance here for Raonic on the Opelka serve. The difference between Stan return of serve and Raonic is that Stan kind of plays that Federer match, kind of plays that Federer style where he just kind of like chips the ball back and gets in the point, whereas Raonic doesn't really have the... He doesn't, like on that forehand right there down the line, he just couldn't get a racket to it, whereas Stan would just slice it over the net. Raonic tries to hit topspin on everything, which doesn't really work. On a big server, you've just got to get the ball back in play and then play the point. Raonic is trying to get the advantage from off a first serve, which doesn't happen on a return. It's hard. If I had Nadal's capital, I'd be spraying. Gil's on fire today, Gil. 15:30 now for Raonic, 2 points away from a break. Tennis in Hindi says, Cam, do you play tennis? Yeah, I used to play a lot more than I do now. I used to play, when I was younger, I used to play heaps. I haven't played much lately, but I'm looking to get back into it. So if I do get back into tennis, playing tennis, I might actually have to invest in getting a GoPro and bringing it out on court with me, so you guys can actually watch me play tennis live. See how good I am. See if I can still hit a ball. 30-all now. So big point in the context of this first set. 30-all, 4-all. Opelka serving. Let's see what happens on this one. Big serve down the tee is a fault from Opelka. 140 mile an hour first serve. Whoa, danger. Second serve now. Second serve is a double fault from Opelka. And it's break point for Raonic. All right, let's see what happens on this one. So, first break point of the match for Milos Raonic. I'd love to see the stats of this first set and see how their serving is, because it feels like both players are just serving ridiculous right now. Not losing too many points until right now. Raonic is way behind the court, can't even see him. Great serve from Opelka out wide's an ace, and it's juice. 2 serve bots should be a boring match, says Julian. Yeah, this is probably the last of the, let's say, boring